Lesson 15, Ezekiel the Watchman. Scripture reading, Ezekiel chapter 3, verses 16 through 21. Introduction. At the end of 7 days, God gave his word to the prophet Ezekiel again, and appointed him as a watchman. Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 17 says, "Son of man, I have appointed you a watchman to the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, warn them from me." The word watchman is tsaphah in Hebrew, and refers to a person who guards and scans his surroundings for the enemy's attack from the heights of the city wall or a tower. A watchman does not only keep watch, but also has the mission of calling out the exact situation. Hence, God commanded the prophet Ezekiel to warn the people as well. The word warn is zahar in Hebrew and means to give warning or to teach. Jeremiah chapter 6 verse 17 also says, "And I set watchmen over you, saying, Listen to the sound of the trumpet." There are 4 cases of the watchman delivering the word, and we will take a look at them one by one. First, the prophet Ezekiel does not warn the wicked by not preaching the word to the wicked. Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 18 states, "When I say to the wicked, you will surely die, and you do not warn him, or speak out to warn the wicked from his wicked way that he may live, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at your hand." If a wicked man is not warned, he will die in his iniquity, and the prophet Ezekiel must also take responsibility for his death. Ezekiel chapter 33 verse 6 says, "But if the watchman sees the sword coming, and does not blow the trumpet, and the people are not warned, and a sword comes and takes the person from them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood I will require from the watchman's hand." Second, the prophet Ezekiel preaches the word to the wicked, but the wicked does not turn from his wicked way. Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 19 says, "Yet if you have warned the wicked, and he does not turn from his wickedness, or from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered yourself." The wicked man who does not receive the warning dies, but the life of the prophet who gave the warning is delivered. Ezekiel chapter 33 verse 7 says, "Now as for you, son of man, I have appointed you a watchman for the house of Israel, so you will hear a message from my mouth and give them a warning from me." Third, the prophet Ezekiel does not warn the righteous when he commits iniquity. Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 20 says, "Again, when a righteous man turns away from his righteousness and commits iniquity, and I place an obstacle before him, he will die. Since you have not warned him, he shall die in his sin, and his righteous deeds which he has done shall not be remembered, but his blood I will require at your hand." The righteous who commits iniquity dies in his sin, but the prophet Ezekiel must also take responsibility because he did not warn the righteous. Fourth, the prophet Ezekiel warns the righteous who commits iniquity, and the righteous does not sin. Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 21 says, "However, if you have warned the righteous man that the righteous should not sin, and he does not sin, he shall surely live because he took warning, and you have delivered yourself." In this case, both the righteous and the prophet Ezekiel live. The prophet Ezekiel not only has the mission to warn the wicked, but also to warn the righteous so they don't sin. If the watchman is not able to carry out his mission properly, then calamity falls upon the watchman as well. God also told the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 16, "For if I preach the gospel, I have nothing to boast of, for I am under compulsion. For woe is me if I do not preach the gospel." Those who do not carry out the mission of the watchman are blind and like mute dogs. Isaiah chapter 56 verse 10 says, "His watchmen are blind, all of them know nothing. All of them are mute dogs, unable to bark, dreamers lying down, who love to slumber." These are the people who have become shepherds without understanding, full of greed and drunk in the world. Isaiah chapter 56 verse 11 says, "And the dogs are greedy, they are not satisfied, and they are shepherds who have no understanding. They have all turned to their own way, each one to his unjust gain to the last one." In these times, God is searching for the true watchmen of faith like the prophet Ezekiel.